Hi, everyone, and welcome to this latest edition of Keeping the Real in Real Estate, where we're talking about the monthly market updates for August. I'm Tricia Farron. I'm a real estate agent with William Ravis in Newtown, and I'm bringing you the facts as I see it, and I'm experiencing it day to day as I do my job. There's big talk right now that the housing recession is over. And you have like two schools of thought from the experts. So you have one school that says, well, the Fed's just raised rates. There's a possibility that they're going to raise rates again in the fall. That's going to keep the mortgage rates probably over 7%, which is around where it was in the fall of last year when we saw a big slump in home sales. So that's a considerable concern when it talks about the health of the housing market and whether or not we're in a recession for the housing market or not, or whether it's over. Then you have somebody like Lawrence Young, who's the economic advisor to the National Association of Realtors, and he's saying, no, the housing recession is over. We're not out of the woods yet. And the numbers that he's looking at is pending sales. And he's saying that the amount of homes that are just about ready to close is increasing each month. Now, I looked at those numbers. If you compare January of this year to June, in January, pending sales was down 25%, almost 26% over the prior year, where June is showing 15% down over the prior year. But should we be really considering 23 over 22, over 21, over 20? Like each year since COVID has been so dramatically different. There's been opening up of the economy. There's been political change. There's been interest rates going up. There's been, incredible low inventory. There's been so many things that comparing year to year, I don't know if we're comparing apples to apples. And you certainly can't compare month to month because the January market is never, ever, ever like the June market, which is not going to be like the August market or the October market. So it's extremely confusing to look at these numbers and use them as a sole basis of what's happening in the marketplace today. What I can tell you is what I'm experiencing, like houses coming on highest and best within a day or two of it coming on the market. I mean, these homes are coming on a Thursday. They may or may not have an open house on Sunday, but by Monday, you've got highest and best, and there's not just 2 or 3 offers being put in. There's maybe 30 offers being put in, or 40 offers, or 20 offers. So I heard a situation just this week where there were so many offers that were put in, and a couple were sight unseen. And the seller didn't want to take that because they were concerned that the person then would not want to purchase the property when they get through to the inspection part of it. So the person actually flew in to see the home just so that they can make sure that their offer was reviewed and considered. And what's interesting is that person did get the house. This is what it is out there. It's very upsetting for buyers. They're frustrated. Almost all of my buyers live in New York, and they are coming up from the Bronx, from Queens, from Brooklyn to come see 1, maybe 2 houses because that's what's available in their price point. I have a client who very much wants to buy a home, and they still both need to commute to the city and to the Bronx, and it's impossible for them to buy in Lower Fairfield County, and it's too far for them to even consider Northern Fairfield County or forget any of the other counties in Connecticut. They've looked at New Jersey, and they're now considering Westchester, even though the taxes are so high, because it's going to be a good commuting component for them. But when she came to go look at houses with me, had we looked at everything that was available in her price point in the geography we thought might work, I probably could have shown her about 15 properties. That same criteria. In fact, I'm going to say that same criteria with a little bit higher of a price point. In Westchester, there were 5, of which 3, there is no way she was going to bring her and her family to these areas. she was looking for something that was going to give her more security, more yard space, a bigger footprint, and these properties no way met those circumstances. So in reality, she has two to pick from. And that might be the way that she goes if she can get either of those two. And this is what's going on. I mean, it is over and over and over again. The serious buyers are doing everything that they can to compete and get these properties that go on and off instantly. Now, I will say that inventory is up again since January. We had 1,139 properties available for purchase, single-family homes available for purchase in Fairfield County in January. Now we have, as of June, 1,435. It's early August, so we won't have July numbers for another week. Inventory is up a little bit, but it is not up enough to see a change in the housing market. Just as a property comes on, it's off. So you're not getting any residual. There's like just no pile up of homes. I will say that there are some properties that they are sitting for a little while, and that's with the sellers that have been completely and utterly unrealistic with their pricing. The buyers are desperate, but they're not stupid. And so they are still doing their due diligence. They are willing to go over asking. Some are willing to waive an appraisal, but with the higher interest rate and with not wanting or not being able to put down as much money as they'd like to put down, there's just only so much that they could do. And the frenzy of what's going on out there is creating unrealistic situations for a lot of people. It would be great if we can get some first-time home buyer type properties out there, the lower price points in our county, somewhere in that $300,000 or $400,000 zone. There's just not enough. And if we could get those, then those people could buy the next tier up. There is also a whole slew of people who are now looking at new construction. There's a little bit less competition with those, but there's still the delay in having the build and a whole slew of its own situation that comes up with if you want to build something. There are lots out there. Land, I don't see having that same frenzy as homes, but then you have to build, and that means you have to know what goes into that and be able to obtain mortgages in that realm. And some people are just not, they just don't have the wherewithal to build a house. So we're back to trying to find them something that they can afford. I get asked a lot of times from everybody, is now a good time to buy? And my answer is always, I can tell you what's happening in the marketplace today. I can try and predict what's happening later, but there's just not enough information to say this is exactly when things are going to happen. There was talk that interest rates were supposed to be maybe in the mid-5s by the end of the year. That didn't happen. There was talks that this last increase from the Fed was going to be the last. That may not be the case. So there's so many things that are out of my control or out of a real estate agent's control, that what is in control is our knowledge of today. There's so many people in my buyer pool that saw the interest rates going up after COVID that they panicked and they said, let me wait and see and hope that the interest rates go down. At that point, the interest rates were in the mid to low 5s. Now we're looking at 7. So waiting did nothing but cost more money and delays. My opinion always to my buyers is the time is right when you can find something that meets your expectations at an affordable rate. Obviously, you don't want to overextend yourself, but maybe you need to come down in price a little bit, or maybe you need to be more flexible with the geography. You can always refinance, always, when the rates go down. But if you're renting, rents are still high, and the amount of money that you're putting towards somebody else's mortgage, you could be putting that towards your own, even if it's a smaller amount than what it would have been had the rates been lower. As far as sellers are concerned, they always ask, is now the right time to sell? If I wait, can I get more? Or are there enough buyers out there? There are plenty of buyers out there. We are in the middle of summer slump, and still there is hot activity out there. So yes, the buyers are out there. 2, you will not be displaced. If you were my client, I promise you, I would not let you sell your house and have your stuff on the side of the road because you couldn't find a home. There are stipulations that you can put into the contract that protect you and to give you the time that you need to find a home that makes right for you. You are the seller. It is your home, and you do not need to close until you're ready to close. But I will say, if you're an investor and you have an investment property that you're not living in, now is an excellent time to sell it. Get your return, roll it in as a 1031 exchange, get another property, fix it up, sell it again. Now would be a great time to do something like that, especially if you don't have to worry about living in there. If you have a tenant in place, the tenant's lease conveys with the sale. So you don't need to wait until your lease is up to sell the property. It doesn't work like that. You have a contract in place, and that contract will convey with the sale. So in summary, I just want to say, I don't believe that the market is going to make this dramatic change anytime soon. We're going to be heading into fall market in a few more weeks. And yes, there will be an influx of activity because that's what happens in fall. Is it going to be enough to turn around the market? No. There's too low of an inventory base to make a change. We literally would have to have half of the homeowners in Fairfield County and Connecticut sell their house in order to make an impact, which means prices are still going to stay up. Time periods between list and sale are going to stay short. What I would say is, if you're unsure of what you want to do, just start preparing your home. There's no reason to wait on that. Cleaning things out. I'll come in. I'll take a look at your house. I could give you a honey-do list and tell you these are the things that I would want you to do if you were ready to list. As a buyer, get your ducks in a row. Pay off your bills. Keep your credit rating up as high as you possibly can. And save your money. This way, when you are ready, you have a clean record. I would also recommend getting your team in place. If you're a seller, talk to your real estate agent, me. Talk to your attorney, talk to your financial advisor, talk to your accountant. Bring in a contractor, take a look and see if there's anything that needs to be fixed, get a price on what those things are going to be. If you're a buyer, talk to lenders. You don't have to have your credit pulled. You can talk to them to see what programs are in place and maybe what you might need to do to clean up your financial situation so you look perfect when you're ready. You can also speak to an attorney. If you're going to buy a house in Connecticut, you're going to need an attorney. If you need recommendations, I can help you with that. Get to learn the state, especially if you're coming from New York, because there's terminology and things that you're used to in New York that we don't have in Connecticut, or we only have in certain towns or certain sides. The coast is going to be very different than Litchfield County or very different than the Western Connecticut. There's so much information out there, and I'm telling you, I would make myself available anytime to chat on the phone. If you wanted to get on a Zoom call, hell, we'll go for drinks, we'll go for lunch. Talking real estate is really fun for me. But the more important thing that I enjoy is helping people understand what their options are so that they can make informed decisions. And that's why I do this podcast, to tell you, don't listen to the news, don't read the newspaper, stop looking at the notifications on your Facebook and whatnot. I'm out there every single day watching this go down, experiencing it, and trying to help my clients. So I could tell you, at least in our area, this is what is really happening in real estate. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in a month.